Why don't we just start out by telling us about Age Reversal Unity and your mission?
Sure, we do it that way. So my company, Age Reversal Unity, is a company that's getting FDA to change the definition of aging to a disease. Basically, the mission of the company is to get FDA classifying aging as a disease. Um, you know, that's what we are gonna do. So far, we filed a citizen petition to FDA demanding to recognize aging as a disease. That's the first step we have to do. We are waiting for the response. They have been communicating with me, and then yeah, uh, I'm hoping.
Let's walk us through that a little bit. So, for aging to be classified as a disease at the FDA, does that something that needs like a congressional bill, or is that something that they can do internally at that department?
So looks like FDA can just do it in that department. You know, FDA gets 200 citizen petition every year. It's for change of regulation, and FDA sometimes approves the citizen petition, sometimes dismiss, sometimes deny it. Depends on the case.
So Universal Unity has
That's the process. The process, yeah.
Oh, so you've submitted a petition, a consumer petition then?
Yeah, a citizen petition. Yeah, yeah, basically.
And did they respond and what did they say?
So they are gonna send me an acknowledgement letter by today or tomorrow. It's just a letter that they have received a citizen petition. Looks like in the next few weeks, FDA posts a petition on www.regulations.gov for the public to submit comments on it. Yeah.
And is that
So
link up yet for those comments?
yes.
Oh, great. Can you share that link in the chat?
I don't have the link right now, but
Okay.
they haven't sent it to me yet. But I just send you the website. It's regulations.gov. I just send it here. But in the next few weeks, probably in 3 or 4 weeks, they are gonna post a petition on regulations.gov, and people can submit the comments on that.
Okay. So once the petition's live, we can share that and try to get the word out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know that you staged a protest outside the FDA. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I did a few protests in New York City, Manhattan, in front of Department of Health and Human Services. The protest was against FDA demanding to recognize aging as a disease. Uh, you know, I'm looking to do. It was with only like a few people I've done the protest, but I'm looking to do a bigger protest. I think for something like this, a protest can help to expedite the process and get the approval. So I'm hoping I can do a larger protest in New York City. I'm trying to get people together to do it.
Okay. And Age Reversal Unity, you said it's a company. Is that a for-profit company or a not-for-profit company?
So the company is for-profit company. I believe once my company get FDA to classify aging as a disease, I believe that's bring value to my company. So I classify it as a for-profit company.
And so as a for-profit company, because it's got to cost something to try to get these regulations changed, like what will be the revenue inflows like once the regulation is changed?
So I think the fact that my company get FDA defined aging as a disease after I succeed, I think that brings value to my company. But after that, and I'm thinking that, because everybody knows my company could succeed in doing this, so I'm hoping that my company get funding from the public. So with that funding, we probably would be like a pharma company, trying to get the age reversal drug, or maybe we invest in, age reversal companies. I'm not really sure which route I want to go, but I know I get funding, and I know, with that funding, I can probably be a pharma, or, just investment company. I'm not really sure what my position is right now.
Okay. And so you've appealed to, or you've contacted the FDA directly with your citizens petition. Are you trying to get any help from lawmakers, or is there any lawmakers that are involved?
There is no lawmaker involved as of now, but a few days ago, I've sent about 8, 9 emails to different senators. I've sent it, I think, to New York senators. I've sent it to California and Illinois senators. So I haven't received any email, any response from them. I think if I get help from Congress or senators, or, a politician, I think that absolutely helps to get the FDA approval for this. Um, for obesity to become a disease, it was a 20 years process. I talked with the lobbying firm that was involved
Okay.
in making obesity a disease, and they told me they get hired for 20 years, and there were other lobbying firm involved in that matter. And it took 20 years, working with Congress and senators to get FDA to classify obesity as a disease. So far, my company is the only company that's really working with FDA to classify aging as a disease. There is no pharma companies, nobody is working towards that. Citizen petition is not absolutely a lobbying work. It's very legal work, I would say. But I think working Congress and senators is, helping a lot towards the success of the citizen petition. And I'm hoping I can, connect with senators.
Okay, awesome. So you kind of have this model of obesity being categorized as a disease. Once it got that classification, what changed for the people who are trying to treat obesity? Like how did that improve what their efforts were?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, I'm just saying that, okay, let's say tomorrow the FDA classifies it as a disease. How does that help people who are trying to do things in this space?
For aging or for obesity?
Well, I was curious, since it seems like the obesity was the model, and it seems like a good model to have, how things changed for them once they were classified as a disease, and or maybe you can just extrapolate, and tell me like how that will change things once aging is classified as a disease. Like what does what opportunities does that open up?
Gotcha. So let me tell you about obesity. In 2013, obesity became a disease. So what that means is that everybody who has obesity, basically over 30 IBM, they have obesity, and it's a disease. And once they go to a doctor and the IBM is like 31 or 32, they have obesity, the doctor gives them the drug or the pill to treat or cure their obesity. So it's basically become universal. And also insurance companies cover the cost for obesity because obesity is a disease. Imagine, Danimal, if you go to a doctor, and you have a vitamin D of 21, right? If your vitamin D is 21 and it's, less than normal, basically it means it's not good. Your doctor is not gonna give you a vitamin D supplement because vitamin D, low vitamin D is not considered a disease. And vitamin D supplement is just a supplement. It's not a disease pill. So, but imagine if you go to a doctor. Imagine if you go to a doctor and you have obesity, and your obesity is like 31 IBM.
Mm-hmm.
Once you go to a doctor, your doctor is obligated to treat or cure your obesity, and gives you the drug for obesity.
Like Ozempic.
Exactly. So the same is gonna happen with aging. Uh, you know, aging is a universal disease. It's like the biggest disease. More like it's everybody get aging. Not everybody get obesity, or not everybody get COVID. Not everybody get cancer or other diseases. But everybody get aging. I would say it's the most profitable disease for pharma companies to to find the treatment or the cure for aging. But if aging become a disease, so what that means is that pharma companies can do clinical trial on aging. Right now, pharma companies can do only animal clinical trial on aging. But once they go to FDA and they say we have a pill or a vaccine that reverse human aging, or FDA doesn't let them to do a clinical trial on aging. If pharma companies don't do clinical trial on aging, there would never be a aging drug or aging vaccine. So the same happened with obesity. Obesity drug now is going through FDA clinical trial, and that's why the doctor can give it to you if you have obesity, because it's already FDA approved. So we want FDA to classify aging as a disease. Therefore, pharma companies can do clinical trial on aging, phase 1, phase 2, maybe phase 3. And after that, they can, once they manufacture the pill or vaccine, everybody who get aging, they use the drug. Everybody over maybe 65 or 60, they already have aging disease. And once they go to a doctor, the doctor gives them a pill or vaccine to be treated or cured. It's just like, COVID vaccine. You use COVID vaccine, you will be cured of COVID. So it's the same process. So yeah, whether it's like age reversal or age reversal drug or stopping age, whatever it is, we are not supposed to get aging, and the doctor is obligated to fix it if once aging is classified as a disease.
And would that also open it up for it to be covered under insurance? So like with obesity, by classifying it as a disease, I guess they were able to develop Ozempic and put it through all the phase trials. And does that mean that insurance companies, or does that open up the possibility of insurance companies covering it then?
So insurance companies never cover a supplement. They never cover like vitamin D supplement or any other supplement. They are supposed to cover diseases, and obesity, once obesity is classified as a disease in 2013, insurance companies, they covered, obesity drug and pill and treatment. So I'm thinking the same is gonna happen with aging, you know, that it's gonna be covered by insurance companies. That's what I'm hoping for, you know.
All right. And you're organizing another protest, I think you mentioned. Can you talk about that a little?
So far I haven't organized any protest yet. I'm you know, I have Twitter account and also I know a few activists in New York. So I'm trying, and you know, and also I'm talking with Transhuman Party, I guess. I probably have a meeting with Transhuman Party if I if I'm not mistaken about their name. So I'm gonna talk with Transhuman Party, political party, and they might help me to do a protest in New York. You know, I've been in contact with them, and I probably have a meeting with the chairman. I was
Gennady.
supposed to, yeah,
Yeah, I know Gennady. He's they'd be great allies because you probably could, I don't know if that's on their platform, but that should be a platform item plank of theirs is classifying aging as a disease, you know?
yeah.
And what interested you in this? Like, how did you get into this space, and what interested you in forming the company and putting all this work into it?
Yeah, so, you know, it was like 6 months ago. I met Professor David Sinclair, the Harvard scientist, you know, and he told me that, um, you know, he already invented MIB626, a pill that reversed human aging for 5 years. He told me he's doing clinical trial on MIB626 for Alzheimer and other diseases. But I know in one of the diseases he's on phase 2, meaning that, you know, if it passed phase 1, it means that the MIB626 is working properly and it doesn't have any serious side effect. And it's a pill that's truly made to reverse human aging for 5 years. It's not made for Alzheimer. You know, the goal wasn't to be for Alzheimer, but he's doing clinical trial on Alzheimer and other diseases because FDA doesn't allow him to do a clinical trial on MIB626 for aging, so he's doing it for Alzheimer. And he told me that you know, there is very small value in an age reversal company since FDA doesn't classify aging as a disease.
Okay.
You know, that made me interested to get into it, you know, and I graduated from law school. So once I've heard that, I kind of like that because I thought I probably can help to get that done. And after that, I talked with so many attorneys, I talked with with a few lobbying firms, and I've learned the process, you know. And you know, there are a few companies like Alto Labs, Calico, Unity Biotechnology, or just like the company I said, Metro Biotech International, Dr. David Sinclair company.
Right.
They are all goaling for age reversal. You know, if you go to their website, they are talking about age reversal. But none of them can do human clinical trial on aging or age reversal. Even if they make the drug that they think it reverses human age for 5 or 10 or 20 years, they cannot do it. They cannot do human clinical trial on aging. I think all of them are hoping that FDA defines aging as a disease on its own. You know, you know, like, um, I talk with another scientist in Australia that you know, he's doing the same thing that Dr. Sinclair is doing. You know, he's doing human clinical trial for an aging vaccine on another disease. And he told me, hopefully, you know, FDA defines aging as a disease in 5 years. So, but he's not hiring any lobbying firm or any attorney to do work with FDA. It's just a pure hope, and that I think that's a problem, because for obesity become a disease, pharma companies just didn't hope for FDA to make it. They work towards that. So and my company, I think it's needed because my company's goal is only to get FDA classified aging as a disease, and I'm hoping it get approved. The petition get approved. If it get denied, we have to file a lawsuit, probably in DC's district court, and get a court order to get FDA classify aging as a disease. That's really the only option we have if FDA denies or dismisses the citizen petition.
All right. Thomas in the group was wondering if classifying aging might be too big and strange of a target for both legislature and pharma. So is there like a smaller target that currently could be done that's not necessarily classifying aging as a disease, but there's still conditions that are linked to aging and ill health that could help take the next step forward if classifying it as disease is too big of a step?
Uh, like what is Thomas thinking about? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry, you broke up. Say that again.
I said, do you know what is Thomas thinking about? Like what should be considered as a disease? Like if it's not
Well,
aging, what should it be?
Well, okay, so I think what he's getting at is that you said it took 20 years for them to classify obesity as a disease. Is
Right.
there any smaller steps that can be taken that isn't that classification, but will help help the industry, help the space, help things that fall short of them classifying it as a disease?
I don't think so. I think it's only aging. The other thing I can think is just age-related diseases, and that's not really the point I'm looking for, because age-related diseases is a consequence of aging. I think aging should be a disease, and it might not take 20 years. FDA has 180 days to respond to the citizen petition. I don't think for obesity they file a citizen petition. I think they just did pure lobbying work with FDA, like working throughout the Congress and senators. That's what I'm thinking. But I filed a citizen petition. FDA has 180 days to respond. If it get denied or dismissed, no problem. We file a lawsuit. The lawsuit is going to take a year or 2 years. Even if the lawsuit get denied or dismissed, we still can appeal. It can be a few years lawsuit. In the meantime, the thing that can expedite this approval is the protest and working with the working with the Congress and senators. I think working with the senators and Congress can expedite this, or doing protests. I think protest is very powerful. If I can do a protest like with 30 or 40 people in New York City, like for even 2 or 3 hours, everybody has banner, signed flyer chanting FDA define aging as a disease, things like that in nature. I cannot find a reason why FDA should deny or dismiss this citizen petition. Because FDA never had I know a lot of people, specifically in longevity, they hate protests, and I get it. I'm not a big fan of protests, but I think it should happen. FDA has been founded in 1905. Since 1905, I could find only 1 or 2 protests against FDA, and I know one of them was successful. It was a protest in 1987 against FDA. In 1980, HIV came, to the United States, and in 1987, so many of protesters, mostly gay, they get protests against FDA in New York City to expedite HIV clinical trial. And HIV clinical trial was taking 9 years in 1987, and everybody was getting HIV. They were dying, 4 or 5 years because they were getting AIDS. So they didn't want to wait 9 years. They all did a protest against FDA to expedite HIV clinical trial. And I think after the first or the second protest, FDA approved 2 years, 2 years HIV clinical trial instead of 9 years.
Now, did they do a lawsuit to achieve that, or do you know of any other
No,
any
none of
other
no. There was no lawsuit. There was no citizen petition. There was no lobbying or Congress involved. It was just pure, pure
public sentiment?
protest, pure
Right.
protest, and it was
And
successful.
well, that's interesting because it's probably, it's one thing if you're protesting the US government, but when you target a specific agency, I'm sure that the pressure the leverage is a lot bigger in terms of having an effect. Do you know if any
Exactly.
other has anybody else gone through that you know of gone through the citizen petition route to get something changed at the FDA?
I've looked at a few citizen petition, and some of them were successful. I don't know. I don't remember specifically what it was for, but FDA get only 200 citizen petition every year. They don't get so many. It's just 200 for change of regulation or things like that. Um. So you know. Yeah, and I wanted to say something about the protest. Um. I wanted to say that, since 1905, it's been 120 years, and FDA had only one protest. So, and since 1987, it's 40 years, and it's 2024, and there are diseases worse than HIV. It's cancer, and nobody has done protests to expedite clinical trial for cancer. And cancer looks a bigger problem than probably HIV. What I want to say, if they never had a protest, so one protest could succeed. The second protest, if it's against FDA to classify aging as a disease, it should work because FDA doesn't get that many protests. It's not like White House or countries. It's just FDA. And I cannot find a reason why protest shouldn't succeed. I'm very optimistic that if I do protests, it's a closing. I know it's a closing deal. I just know it's a closing. Yeah,
Well,
and two
luck
years,
with
two,
that.
two years, 2 years clinical trial for HIV cannot even happen in 2024, but it happened in 1987.
Now,
Like
why do you think that nobody else has protested since then?
I Googled. I think there was no. I don't think I found any other protest against FDA. I think there was another protest against FDA for getting access to the abortion pill. I'm sorry, to the Alzheimer pills. I think it happened in Chicago a year ago. I couldn't find more information about it, but I don't think there was more than two protests. Even if we consider that as a protest, I don't think there was more than two protests against FDA. I couldn't find anything in Google. Maybe there was, but I didn't find it. I don't know.
All right, and I'm curious, if people want to try these other types of therapeutics or drugs, like they could just leave the US to go get that done. There's a lot of examples of people going to like Colombia or Honduras or, other countries. Like, why do you think it's important to change it here in the US?
Can you hear me, Danimo?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. Can you repeat the question again? I couldn't hear you.
Well, I was just wondering why you feel like what's important about changing in the US when, let's say, for example, Liz Parrish wanted to use a novel treatment to lengthen her telomeres. She went to Colombia, and that Honduras is setting up a free state area where you can do whatever kind of longevity practitioner that you want. So why do you think it's important to have the laws changed in the US as opposed to people going out of the country to get these treatments done?
Okay, so the difference is the difference between like, I have a few answers for this question. I'm happy you asked. The difference is like, that sounds like a supplement industry. That doesn't sound like a disease industry, In a supplement industry, people have choices to use, anti-aging gen therapies or don't use it, and it's very expensive. But once something is a disease, it's universal and everybody uses it. So the first thing is that no age reversal company wanna invest in aging if aging is not a disease, because it would be like a supplement industry. Nobody, first, it's not FDA approved, so people don't trust those anti-aging drug or anti-aging gen therapy so much. They cannot trust it. The second is people have option to use it or not. They have choices to use it or not. And most people, maybe 99% of people, don't even use anti-aging drug or gene therapies. So the profit for pharma companies is very, very small. So why should any pharma company invest in that? Companies are making billions of dollars in profit from a disease, while they're making only a few $1 million a year just from a supplement. Um,
That makes sense. But let's say
and
France.
but the second thing is not FDA approved. How do you know if it's truly reverse aging or not? It's just a claim. It's just a pure claim. That somebody says it reverses human aging. There is no clinical trial done on it. So how can you trust it so much? Even if you want to use it, I wouldn't trust it, honestly, because I would rather trust something that is FDA approved than just a pure claim by a scientist or doctor. I think that gives more, that's build trust. Now we are using like COVID vaccine, and it's FDA approved, and we are all complaining that it has so much side effects. So many people are dying due to it, and you are talking about something that is not FDA approved. What if I use it and the other side happens? Like it cause cancer. Like you never know. I would never use those gen therapies, honestly. I think it's just a pure claim. There is no evidence for it.
Right. So your argument is that in the United States, because of the way our healthcare system is set up, if the FDA classifies it as a disease, that means the drug companies can do all the trials and prove the efficacy of it, and then make it available to the public in a way that the public can trust it. So
Exactly.
let's say France declared it as a disease, aging as a disease, or some other country. Do you feel like that there wouldn't be the same motivation to go through that process of really testing its efficacy?
Yeah, I think if any country define aging as a disease, so meaning it means that pharma companies can do clinical trial on aging in that particular company, in that particular country. So I send an email to UK. It's called MHRA. It's like a UK FDA. I send them an email. They respond me and they told me, I send them an email that I think aging is a disease and you should classify as a disease. I already filed a citizen petition to US FDA, and they told me, give us more evidence. And I sent them an email yesterday. It was a petition similar to the citizen petition I filed. and I gave them the evidence, all of that. I emailed them yesterday, and I haven't heard from them yet. But if I can make aging a disease in any country, US, UK, whatever, I would make it. Whatever the process is, I would go for it. I have no problem. But I know Mini Circle. I think you're talking about Mini Circle, the company that's doing gene therapy in hundreds. I don't think hundreds defines aging as a disease. I already talked with them. So I think they have done phase 1 clinical trial, or they are doing it on another disease, not aging, but they are claiming that it works for aging. I don't think they even finished phase 1. Maybe they did. I have no idea. But Congress doesn't classify aging as a disease. If one country define it, I'm sure a lot of American companies would go there.
Do you think there's countries that would be more open to it? Like, let's say the UAE, and Dubai, they're very forward thinking. Do you think that's something that could be looked?
I actually sent the email to UAE yesterday, to UAE FDA, basically. I forgot their name. I think it was UAE Ministry of Health. I sent them an email yesterday. I honestly don't know what the particular process for it. Maybe I just sent an email to them similar to the one I sent to UKF to MHRA to UK FDA, and I'm hoping they give me a response and help me how to get the regulation change in UAE Ministry of Health. Yeah, any country, I think US can, I think US FDA can classify aging as a disease. But whatever country that works, if you think, just let me know, and I would try, and I send them an email, and try to work with the regulation and get that change.
All right. Well, please keep us updated on your progress, and let us know if there's any way that we can help or get the word out. We're coming up
Sure.
at the hour. I'm wondering if there's any last thoughts or last things you wanted to say.
Yeah, just very short. I just want to say that for people who are hoping on age reversal companies like Alto Labs, Calico, or different gene therapies, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't hope for it. Instead, I work towards the regulation to change the regulation and get FDA defined aging as a disease. I think that needs support, not the longevity part. If something cannot happen legally, it would never happen. An aging drug can never happen legally because FDA classify aging as a natural process. So I don't think you should hope for it or be optimistic, honestly. I think you should work towards a regulation, and whatever you can do, just do it. And yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Daniel.
All right, Ali, thank you so much for your time, and we'll keep us posted on how your things are progressing.
Sure, I'll do. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Have a good day.
And thanks for all the people who attended. I know it was a little bit of a technical challenge, but please stick with us, and we'll have more conversations like this to learn more. And we appreciate your time.